There we go. I managed to mess up all the images. Okay, guys, welcome to Quarkus episode about JHipster Part 2. So this time we have Daniel Petisme, who, did I say your name right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Only
Here,
sounds good.
back in episode 4, I think.
Yeah.
Then Anthony, who's a newcomer here, and we have Steve and Emmanuel listening in. Before we go to you, Steve, you have anything from the world tour?
Oh, nothing more than we're doing more and more and more, which is cool. I'll put a call out. If anybody wants to help us organize them, wants us to come to their jug that we haven't already, what else do we want? Yeah, if people want to help talk about Quarkus, then we're all very willing. Just reach out to me at worldtour@quarkus.io and we'll get connected.
Yeah.
And if you have feedback, if you've seen one of those and you have feedback for the team and whoever did it, just either use the email or just do it right here in the chat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or just tweet about it. Let us know how good it was.
Only good stuff, right? No.
Of course.
No. Yeah, and for those who don't know what a world tour is, it's we going around to all the jugs in the whole wide world virtually. I think we've been to like 5 or 6 now.
Yeah.
That's a long list.
Yeah.
We go through. So anyway, well, let's just jump into it. Anthony, well, let's start from Anthony. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, with pleasure. So thanks to host us today. I'm very happy to be here, to be honest. We planned that for a long time, and we are really proud to be here. So my name is Anthony. I'm a Java developer, and let's say I used to say a JavaScript and Java developer. I'm working at Nintendo, and we are building a Kubernetes solution to microservices and micro frontends application. Okay. So also I'm contributing to JHipster, and since a few months I'm contributing to JHipster Quarkus especially, and this is the reason why we are here. And I'm working a lot with Daniel, so it's a real pleasure to be here with him today.
Just a question: is it JHipster or JHipster? You guys are saying JHipster, but I always said JHipster.
Yeah, I know that in English we should not say JHipster because it's bad. So it seems that there is some bad references. Okay. I think, but yeah, even in French, I think we say JHipster. So because hipster is okay, you can be an hipster and you can be an hipster or J, and you can put everything you want under the J. So probably that is JavaScript and also Java and probably something more. I don't know, but yeah, it's so let's say it's JHipster.
JHipster, got it. Okay.
You've got to admit that Anthony has a better background than us and a nice looking mic and setup. So kudos.
Hey, thank you to JHipster community too. Yeah, I stream sometimes on Twitch, even if in the last week I did not stream a lot because I just get my new children. I get 4 children.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. 2 or 3 weeks ago, and yeah, so thank you because the JHipster community helped me to buy and to build everything, to have a good place to stream it, to share JHipster moment, a contribution, and to help people to come and contribute to open sources projects.
Awesome. How about you, Daniel?
What about me? Since last year, so Daniel Petisme, based in France, obviously given the accents. So last year I was working for Michelin and I joined Confluent since a couple of weeks actually. So working on data in motion and Kafka and streaming processing. Apart that, what I do, I try to contribute as much as possible to open source. So I've been contributing to Vertex, to JHipster, so the let's say the standard version or the one that people know most of. I contribute also to Quarkus. That's why I've got the shirt. Also to Quarkus, and I start a couple of years ago. It's been 2 years now. the JHipster Quarkus blueprint, which is a code generator to generate a full stack application using a Quarkus backend. And that's why we are here today with Anthony, because we crossed our 1.0 version a couple of weeks or months ago, actually.
Yeah, about it.
And yes, so we are really proud to be there and try to show what is doing, what the project is doing.
So two babies gave birth, like
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
and JHipster, the voice one. Got it.
Yeah,
the way,
yeah.
So JHipster is financed in an interesting way. So there is no company behind it. There are like contributors and donors, and that can be corporate. But I think there is a bunch that is just individual users that contribute. So you can go to the jhipster.tech, I think, website, and then there is a donation or donors, and then click there, and then you reach, I think, something called Open Collective.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is transparently exposing, like what you spend money on, what is being received, and all of that. So a very interesting model.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if
Go ahead.
we can give more details about that, is the important things to know is we try to distribute the money as much as possible to the community and to the contributors. So let's say, for example, we have some we know that some of this contribution need time and work, and well, sometimes we fail to find people also. So we try to distribute the money through the bug bounty program, and so you can earn money if you fix a ticket or add a feature that the people want, and you can earn from $100 to $500 per ticket.
Yeah, I saw interesting one. Those someone's work did not get merged, but he did get the funding anyway, which I think was very good. So that was.
Yes, we try to reward the intent to contribute, because we know that contributing is hard. So we try to reward this intent and try to motivate people to contribute to open source.
Yeah, and the last good example we have is on Quarkus, on the Quarkus blueprint. We struggle a lot with the native build for some with some configuration, especially with MongoDB. And I try to reach some people outside the community, and they say, "Hey, we put money on this. We don't have enough time to do it, and probably that you have enough on. You have an idea, or we can fix it." And we put money. I think it was $200, and Well, the good thing is we found some people, someone to do it, and he gained $200. So we gain a new feature, and he gained money. So everybody is happy.
Yeah, that's good. So
Cool.
yeah, there's a ton of way of doing this. Like I know we tried doing this in other products in the past, but unfortunately we had this effect that people stopped contributing because they wanted funding, and we couldn't fund everything.
I think the world has changed a bit, but indeed, JHipster is drawing an interesting line here. I think the fact that there is no big, let's say, company behind it is helping treading that line.
Yeah,
for example.
So anyway, just to remind people, we actually do have people listening, and if you say something like Sebastian here, who says that the Quarkus blueprint, the JHipster Quarkus blueprint is going to be used for this Red Hat Summit, apparently, which is in next month. Yeah.
No, it's this month.
Good.
It's the end of April. Yeah.
Oh, it's April. I lost count.
You, my friend, is not on the line.
I'm just like checking the third line. I'm like, okay, it's fine. No, but anyway, if you have comments or suggestions or questions, put them in chat, and we will put them in here. So yeah. Oh, and Daniel helped him, so that's good.
Yeah, actually, Sebi contacted me a couple of weeks ago, saying, I have to build a simple application, but I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to write all this boilerplate code. So do you have any hint to try to generate as much code as possible?
Yeah.
And that's why he has been using JHipster Quarkus, and it looks happy. So Sebi looks happy from his experience. So.
Yeah. Maybe just so I want to get you guys starting on demo soon. I'll just say one thing that a year ago in that early episode, we already said back then that in Quarkus, we at least at that point, and still don't have a plan of having like this generator thing, but we were happy to see JHipster put that up, and you guys keep maintaining it, which is awesome. So yeah, and I know that back then there was a lot of conversation that started, well, during the call and after that, the stuff you guys bump into that we didn't know, and we fixed stuff in Quarkus. So there's a lot of stuff that improved in Quarkus because of you guys, trying out and actually building this what do you call it, code generator, and that's been really good. So anyway, let's say we're 11 minutes in, we haven't seen code yet. So Anthony, Daniel, you wanna
just before that, there is no news specific to Quarkus, not related to JHipster. Or
sorry, there actually is. Yeah, sorry. There isn't a specific release, but there is that we announced that was that a week or two ago? I forgot but the 2.0, we're working on what we call Quarkus 2.0, and Quarkus 2.0 doesn't necessarily mean a lot of like we're breaking things. It's just that we are updating Vertex. There is some works in how we work with platforms. We are dropping support for Java 8 and a few more things, but that version is coming. And the main thing in there, like technical differences, is you move from Vertex 3 to 4, which requires some changes in extensions. But for the user, there should be, let's say, minimal impact on it.
So we'll see if a JHipster app still works. Then
we're good. Yes.
I think we will try to align the Quarkus 2.0 with JHipster Quarkus 2.0 also, just to have the same naming.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, that would help. But that being said, it's for real. Like we don't want 2.0 to be the time where we break everything. There are some stuff we want to deprecate aggressively and move forward, or remove stuff we have been deprecating. But it's a process we've been using since almost the beginning. After the 1.0 is like deprecating something and a few months later removing it. So it's nothing more than that. It's just that one key component Vertex and one key component Java is changing, and it's that aspect.
And I see Tokyo Walker saying, "Oh, is Java 8 support getting dropped?" Yeah, so technically it's been dropped for a while. Like we still build against Java 8, but for example, the Red Hat supported version never supported anything but Java 11. And what was that like? We've been waiting. I think it's about a year ago. We started saying, "Hey, you really want to drop Java 8 because it's holding us back. There's a lot of APIs we can't use, and it's just getting. We now is it this year? Java 17 is going to come out. It's going to be the next long-term supported one.
September.
Yeah, September, right? So we asked around, and like a year ago, we got I'll not say a lot, but we got some pushback from the community saying, "Hey, we work in some bank or financial sector that had to stay." But we actually never got that many requests on Java 8. Like most people were using Java 11 or higher. So now we are we're going forward and planning on dropping Java 8. So there's a thread on the Quarkus dev list.
Quarkus dev, yeah. So Tokyo, you can find the thread and pile on to the conversation, because nothing is cast in stone, but it's definitely the trend we would like to go to, not let Quarkus stuck behind. And of course, the 1.13 will just not disappear. So
still one experience is still there. You can't still use it, but if you want to move forward, then Java 11 is going to be in the base. And also just stuff in the last 3 or 6 months. 2 big things happened. Azure moved to support Java 11, so all the cloud vendors now support Java 11 on all the different platforms. And there's some frameworks that Quarkus has dependency on, which also dropped Java 8. So right now we are holding back because we can't upgrade because we're stuck in this limbo. So that's where we are. Okay, let's go. I'll hide this one and share your screen.
Yeah, good.
Anthony. And then the stage is yours.
Yeah, so we can dive directly into the demo, probably, that maybe introduce what we did. Don't know that done yet before, since I mean the last year. Do you want to start with a quick tour of what we did?
Yeah, maybe we can go. We can do that. Maybe just for a reminder for those who don't know JHipster at the very start. So JHipster is what we call a full stack code generator. So basically, once you get installed with you install JHipster, you can trigger a command line, and then you are able to. The command will show you some questions and guide you through the configuration of the app creation. So basically, we will ask what's the package name, what is the application name, what kind of security do you want to use, what kind of database do you want to use, and so on and so on. And at the end, JHipster is able to generate a full stack application with a backend relying on Spring and a front end relying on either Angular, React, or Vue.js now. So this is JHipster. JHipster is able also to generate more things for Kubernetes, for the CI/CD, for a lot of stuff. So this is the very first thing about JHipster. Now, after that, what we try to do is to try to replace the Spring backend with a Quarkus one. So the objective was to re-implement the backend with Quarkus. Last year, when I presented the project, we had a very early prototype of what JHipster Quarkus looked like. And now with JHipster Quarkus, what we are able to do is basically generate a full application. So you've got the full JHipster scope covered by Quarkus. You are able to use GWT authentication, O2 authentication with Keycloak and Okta. We've got SQL support plus a partial support of NoSQL. So we are able to build application relying on MongoDB.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cache also. We have a couple of caches covered by JHipster.
Yeah, the Quarkus cache and with caffeine, and also Redis.
What else do we have? That's all for the application. And then when we so JHipster helps you to generate an application, and after that, JHipster helps you also to create entities in your application. And on the entity side, we are able to generate the classic entity. So what is the application, the entity name, the fields, integrity constraints on your fields. Do you want to implement the active record or repository pattern? Do you want to use a DTO for data transfer? And I think, also the pagination links. Pagination links and all the tests related to the entity. So basically, all what we will cover in the demo. But yes, I think we have a very first version of Quarkus that people can use to build application in their enterprise.
Very nice. Yeah. By the way, just remind me, JHipster is called JavaHipster, but it's written in JavaScript. That's still the case.
Yeah. It's you use JavaScript to generate a Java application. So yeah, just for the reminder, JHipster is based on Yeoman. So Yeoman is a JavaScript generator, and because of Yeoman, you can extend these generators, some generators, let's say. And by extending them, you can put specific things. And this is exactly what we are doing here with Quarkus. Just like Daniel said, people used to think that JHipster is a big generator that will generate all the things you need in one shot. This is not exactly true. You have a lot of sub-generators, and then you can, with using the blueprint feature, you can come and say, okay, in my front end, I want to add this feature, or in my back end, I want to to add this specific configuration or this specific library. And in the case of Quarkus, we say that we don't want the server side, we don't want the backend side at all, because we will recreate it from scratch by using Quarkus. But we benefit from all the other things from JHipster for the front end, because Quarkus don't want to deal with the front end. We don't need to take care of what kind of code we need to handle in Angular or in Vue and React. So everything that's coming, for example, for the front end, will benefit it directly from JHipster. Then maybe we can directly show it, demonstrate it with using JHipster. So to use JHipster Quarkus, you will need to install both JHipster and JHipster Quarkus. The good thing is we help you to avoid to do this by creating a kind of let's say CLI that will allow you to not directly install JHipster. So if you want to use JHipster Quarkus, you just need to do the npm install just like that and use and install JHipster Quarkus. And when you install it, it will automatically retrieve the version of JHipster related to this version of JHipster Quarkus, because we have a link between the JHipster Quark, the given JHipster version and a blueprint. And in this case, we are talking about the 6.10.5 version of JHipster. When the V7 have been released in V7 in last month, I think. Not sure. Anyway, so when you install this generator JHipster Quarkus, then you can directly use JHipster Quarkus CLI just like this. And
so you lost me. So you say you're using JHipster 6.10.5 at the moment. Yeah. And what did you say about 7 then?
Yeah, the 7 has been released in last month, I guess. So we did not. We just started the migration a few days ago. But when basically in JHipster, we used to introduce breaking changes and big breaking changes between major version. And this is why the migration between the 6 and 7 version, especially when you are dealing with blueprints, are quite difficult. So we need to check everything. We need to do to be more to do it carefully, let's say. So this is why we need time to do that. And but it's in the pipe, so we will do it. I'm pretty sure that we will do it. Yeah, I saw that Antonio suggests to do it in French. Yeah, but I think we are okay. We can do it in French too.
Oh, Steve and me, I'm not sure we are fluent enough. The listeners might be not getting our French accent.
Unfortunately, French was the dominant language for business a while ago, but it's been a few, let's say, tens of years since this was the case. So.
Yeah, maybe we can redo it maybe in Quarkus Facile in French. What time?
I'll tell you what, if there's a lot of people who do French, then we should set something up separately.
Yeah, but we are thinking about the viewers. But by the way, it's also a good question, because I always think about that. Should I do it in French or should I do it in English? Because it depends really on the viewers. So we can reach more people by doing it in English. But in the meantime, we are French. It's probably that it will be easier for us to dive into more details and to be more to do it with more precision. So anyway, when you launch the JHipster Quarkus just like that, it will automatically launch the JHipster and the JHipster Quarkus blueprint. So you will directly be able to run Quarkus, and just like Daniel said, you will access to some questions. So we will ask you what kind of application you want to generate. We're starting by the base name of your application, the package name. So I will not stay. I will not use too more time here, because we don't want to spend too more time here.
Maybe there is a question just to show you the difference between JHipster Spring and JHipster Quarkus. Let's say one question we removed with JHipster Quarkus
Oh yeah.
With JHipster Spring, the very first question we ask to the developer is which kind of application you want to develop, either a monolith or a microservice or another kind of application. And with Quarkus, we made the opinionated choice that all applications are microservices. So basically, we remove this question and we try as much as possible to delegate all the microservice aspects to either Kubernetes or cloud provider or whatever. But this is maybe the very first difference between JHipster, Quarkus, and Spring. We made this opinionated choice. I don't know if it will be sustainable in time, but so far it works.
Yeah, the first kind of application is the gateway. So basically, you can generate a gateway with Spring Boot application, and here we don't have this because all the things that we generate is our microservices. So you can, even if we have a front end application with it, you can also choose to not generate the front end, and it's basically the same application that a monolith or a microservice would be. Okay,
I think
so
it's also because JHipster was created quite a few years ago, where
yeah,
let's say macro services were more of a thing, and so it's a bit of an opinionated, but in the end, it's more aligned with the trend of the days. So
yeah, for sure. The microservice architecture in JHipster is related to the Netflix stack. So I don't know in which year it have been made, but for sure it have been made when the Netflix stack used to be the good solution to deploy microservices in production. Not sure this is really true for the moment. Still true, but yeah, you can use JHipster also to generate only backend application just by skipping the front end, just like I said, even with even with Spring back application. Okay, so you can run, you can choose between JWT or Auth2. You can choose different kind of databases. So we support all these kind of databases for the moment. You can use H2 or MySQL in development. So let's say, for example, if I want to use MySQL, you can use Caffeine or Redis. So all the things we try also. Yeah, a good thing also to know is we try to follow what JHipster, what kind of solution that is provided by JHipster, but also to follow what the Quarkus community is able to provide, or what kind of decision have been made into the Quarkus community. So, for example, here you can see that we have a Redis implementation, but this implementation is using the Redis client and server. So it's not exactly the same that the Caffeine one, but because the Caffeine one is using the Quarkus cache. So we try to follow as much as possible what the Quarkus community choose or provide, and it's also a subject of discussion between Daniel and me. So should we follow what JHipster did, or should we sometime take the decision that make a decision that is the opposite? Because well, the things are very different in some way in the Quarkus community. So we try to find a good balance between what we should do and what we should not do. And to be honest, it's not always easy. Yeah, so we have the Hibernate second level cache. We can choose between Maven or Gradle, and in the front end, so everything we saw before are coming from the Quarkus implementation, and then we move back directly to what JHipster suggests and provide. So here, for example, what kind of client framework we can choose, the Bootswatch theme. If we want to support internationalization, so for example, the first language could be English, and then the second one could be French.
Danish. No, okay.
And And then when you finished, you choose everything. JHipster will create all the files for you and will install all the dependencies, so you can start directly to code with JHipster.
By the way, should people be scared about these walls, or is just that JavaScript, like a library, is deprecated every day? So it's just a fact of life. Or
yeah.
Actually, I remember when it was the Axios library, which is a very core library that gets a CVE, I guess. And basically, it lasts multiple days before that libraries release a patch and get released up to date. So basically, during few days, each and every time that I was generating an application, I get a big red message saying, please, there is a security lag, please upgrade. Yeah, but it's not me, it's my dependency libraries that are not up to date.
But that's only at build time anyway, right? At generation time. So there are limits to the CVE's impact, I guess.
In Java, nothing gets deprecated, so nothing gets printed. Yeah.
So when you generate your application, you can directly use the Maven wrapper provided by the project to run your project directly in dev mode, or also you can choose to start the front end with the Webpack server to allow you to have the auto reload feature. So you can have auto reload in the backend with Quarkus, and you can have auto reload in the front end with Webpack development server. Maybe I can just open the. Oh, I'm not on the right screen. Oh, just like it could be good. Okay, so I don't know if I need to zoom a bit.
A little bit, if you can.
Yeah.
The answer is always yes when you do presentation.
Yeah, the only thing, to be honest, I don't use code a lot, but it's quite useful to have it, especially in demo, because you can open it really quickly. And so maybe we can dive just a little bit into the POM XML. So probably that when you are using Maven, but also with same thing with Gradle, is if I want to start a new project, I will spend a lot of time to define what I can have into my POM XML, to add the native build, to have a web dev build, to have all the properties and dependencies and etc. So maybe I can close. Yeah, I can close it here. So for example, here we generate let's say an important file, POM XML file, so that will contains all the things you need to work with your application, even with the front end one, because we have the Maven front end. I don't remember plugin. For example, a good thing, so maybe we can just dive into the native. I think the native, here, for example. So here, just to get a quick example of what we can have is in case, or when you generate the application with JHipster and by using Quarkus, you will directly have the native profile added to the POM XML, so you can directly generate your native image of your project. We have a lot of things, also the prod and the dev mode. And so this is the first things. And also, if I go directly into the Java folder, you can find a lot of things here. So we generate a kind of skeleton of your application that will contain few features such as user management, admin, let's say admin screens. You can register up users. You can also having metrics and etc. So all the things.
Can you start the application in the background just to?
Well, I already started it in native mode, so I can't start twice because But by the way, I think I can do it, but I need to change. Yeah, maybe we can do it in live. By the way, I think we
you
can.
generate this application with the H2 database, so you won't conflict with the native.
No, just about the POR. I want to be sure that which POR will be used by default. I don't remember where this default POR is defined.
It's not generated by default. It's 8080.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. So yeah. Okay. Wait.
So it should be quarkus.http.port if you want to change this.
Okay. No, I will stop it, and maybe I can. This is the good point. I can start it directly, just like that. And okay, so the Maven wrapper will be started, get everything back, and generate both the front end and the back end. And because I used H2, so we will not have some troubles with MySQL. Good point. So well, another thing is, for example, the application properties is fully set to work with your application. So in this case, the data source, the cache with caffeine. So we by default we generate two different caches. So two caches to cache the users. So you have all the things. Yeah, you can change the value, for example, but we provide default values here. And I don't know, the email, etc. So you can just open it and get a look of what the application look like.
So all of this is just for default application thing you set up, right?
Yes, it's what we generate by default for the developer. Then it's up to them. I mean, we try as much as possible to provide kind of curated values based on our experience, or based also on the JHipster community experience. We try to migrate a couple of values. After that, once the developer has generated the application, it is on code. So on code actually. But everyone is able to update the code and make it own. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think we should imagine that instead of trying to put a lot of things just like that and try to have something that work out of the box, by do it by ourselves, you can use JHipster to generate all the things and then go directly into the element you want to have and change the things you want to have specific things. So I think my application is started now. Okay, we can do it here. So I can go into localhost here in 8080. So I can see that my application is running and I can sign in. So we have by default two different user. Yeah, I put a space here. We have the admin and user. So for a good reason, because admin has specific rights. And if I, just like I said before, you can go into the user management. Oh, I have a bug. Oh my God, I have a bug. Okay, this is the, okay. I don't know why.
It is a demo.
Yeah, this is a demo. So, okay, no, this is correct. So, unauthorize, I think it's correct because we start, but why? Okay, so you don't want to go into the user management, but we can go into the metrics. So it's a bit strange, but okay, let's say it's the demo. So for example, this is the metrics. So we pulled the metrics from the, what was the metrics we used, by the way? I don't remember.
JMX.
Yeah, it's JMX. So basically, this screen is a perfect example of the difference between what Spring is doing, what JHipster Spring is doing, what Quarkus does, what JHipster Quarkus should do.
Yeah.
Here, for instance, so if you are using Spring, you've got the curator API, which exposes also the thread metrics, for instance, and which is not exposed by default by Quarkus. So here we had two options. Either we stick with what JHipster is doing and we have to implement it by ourselves, or we just skip this part and we try to stay consistent to Quarkus. And so every time it's a balance to found. Here, for instance, we decided to re-implement this metric just to prevent to touch the front-end application. But yes, it's kind of complicated because JHipster has already an API which rely on JHipster itself plus Spring, and we try to stick to this API. So depending on the areas, it can be more or less complex. But it's a very good example.
Yeah, in this case, the work was not so complex, so we decided to include it into the blueprint, and we needed to change a bit of the front end code, but we don't want to do it too much because this is not the goal of this blueprint. So we try to avoid that. Yeah,
so what you're saying is the threads, for example, is not exposed. So I guess Quarkus could expose it. That's probably something we should have a conversation. But the other thing is that the API to extract those metrics are not the same between Spring and Quarkus, and therefore the front end had to be adjusted a bit. And it's always annoying.
Yeah. That's it. But for example, the thread is a good example because I think in the case of Spring, it's used directly the actuator API. So you have nothing special to do with Spring because you just need to call the right API. But in this case, we needed to rewrite this part of code to have this thread dump.
And the subtlety of API is basically, I mean, normally an API is a contract with a third party. Here, in that case, is a client application, and so our job is to try to not force the client to update or try to alter the contract. It's just to try to say, okay, there is an existing contract. We are the newcomers. We have to stick to this contract and take advantage of the client application or all the rest of the JHipster features.
And just be clear, so in Quarkus land, like we try not to replicate what other system does better. So for example, the whole monitoring stuff, we kind of think that's part of like your Kubernetes or other cloud stack to keep a track of rather than have it in your own app. But sure, for small things, this makes sense.
And that's a discussion, I mean, a recurring discussion with the Quarkus community, generally speaking. Every time is, okay, if I'm talking about JHipster is using this feature of Spring or whatever framework. Should Quarkus do the same thing? Yes or no? And every time, so I've got an example with Sergey about 2 claims actually. So I presented a Spring behavior, and I said, okay, this is the Spring way. Quarkus should do the same thing. I'm not sure, but this is an open discussion, and if it's not to Quarkus to do it, maybe somebody else has to do it, and in that case, it would be JHipster Quarkus that covers this feature. But it's always an interesting discussion to and do not try to put all the possible features into Quarkus and say, okay, Quarkus has its own paradigm and mindset and concepts, and try to to keep consistent with the Quarkus experience.
That's nice. Yeah. All right, so we just see that we've already like 3/4 through. So do you want to show a bit more of the apps? Let's see, right?
Maybe we can cut that and move to Gdl generation.
Yeah, I want to. There was the next step was to go in details with the Gdl Studio. So this is a feature from JHipster, and Gdl Studio, basically the JHipster domain language. So this is the JHipster domain language. So a kind of well, what can I say? I don't know. Well, what?
Just before maybe going to the Gdl, just one thing. We are jumping to the Gdl really fast, but just so with JHipster Quarkus, you're able to generate an application using your terminal and answering some questions. There are plenty of wizards to help you to generate stuff with JHipster. So for entities, for CI/CD, for Kubernetes, and so on and so on.
Oh yeah, maybe we can, for example, just get a quick example, just to run it for 5. Let's say if I want to create an entity, I don't know, is customer, if I want to create an entity that named customer, I can use directly JHipster entity customer here in the same folder that I generate my application before.
JHipster Quarkus, otherwise you'll generate JHipster.
Yeah, so it will ask me some questions. So, for example, do you want to add a field? Yes. What name of the field? It will be the name, and it's a string. And do you want to add validation? Yeah, probably yes. I want this name to be required. Okay. And no, I don't want to add another field because I want to save a bit of time here. I can add some relationship to another entity, but I don't have any other entity for the moment, so I can't. But I probably won't in the future. And here, this is a specific a Quarkus question. So this does not exist in the old JHipster implementation. In the Spring implementation is, do you want to use a repository pattern or the active record pattern? So we can choose between both.
Will this then use Panache, or is this do you have your own JHipster thing, or?
No, we use Panache. We use Panache.
And by the way, just we got a question from Antonio. Says, do you generate flyway or liquid-based config?
Yeah.
Yes. We finish the generation and we'll show you the data migration files.
Cool, awesome.
So so we can choose also to use directly the entity into the REST controller or to generate service class.
Yes, perfect.
Use the DTO, for example. I think it's a good option. And no pagination, or you can use pagination. And here, yeah, you generate all the things and also the liquid-based file, just like we said. So in this case, we have a conflict because we already have a master XML file, and you say, okay, I'm generating a new file, but a new master XML file, but you already have one. So which one should I use? Should I overwrite this? I think yes. But a good thing, maybe I can put whole, and a good thing in the future, though, I mean, in the JHipster 7, you will be able to generate liquid-based with an incremental way. So instead of overwriting all the liquid-based existing files and having some troubles with your when you run the JHipster, the liquid-based file again into when you start your application, it will create a new file separate from the master one and to use the incremental way. So for each time you create a new entity, you will create a new file that will come directly for your entity. So in this case, so maybe I can run the application again just to let people know what happened exactly here, and go back here. So, well, we say that we can generate entity and we generate a lot of things. And another option could be to use the JHipster domain language instead. And in this case, you can define your whole application here in text-like. And because thanks to the Gdl Studio, you can have an idea of what kind of relationship you will have between all the entities. And for example, here I have a project category customer, and I have relationship between. We saw the same thing that before. So for example, to use the pagination, the service. What do we have? Yeah, the application. So for example, it's a monolith that's using MySQL, JWT, and Maven. So all the things we defined before with the CLI is available in the GDL. So when you have that, you can export this file or what you own. Is also possible to write directly this file on your own local environment, and then you just need to import this file when you generate your application, and it will directly run the application without asking anything. Things it will ask no question.
So what
and it will
use case
generate all the things from this file.
What use case do you have for having a, like, is it to share it across the team, like with a default template of sort, or what are the set of use case for a JDL based generation versus answering the questions?
Yeah, but I have from my own experience, we use that directly in a client environment in my customer when I was with my team, and we had a lot of entities because it came directly from the existing application. So we recreate all the entities and the relationship directly in the GDL, and we saved also a lot of time. It's not also it's good probably to share it across the team, but also to save time, because you will spend less time to write directly your entity just like that, instead of using the CLI, especially when you need to, okay, I want to create this entity, it's a relationship with that. I forgot to set the title. Okay, I need to start it again, etc., etc. So the CLI is good to start quickly. It's probably good to simple things, but I will say that in case you need to define complete things, I will rather use the Gdl Studio for sure. Well, I'm saying the Gdl Studio, but this Gdl is the solution.
It's very helpful also when you are on the very early stage of development. So either for a demonstration, for prototyping, exploring some stuff. So basically, you just write down some relation and you generate a trash application just to show some behaviors. And once you crystallize or fix some stuff, then I don't see many teams that use. JHipster is not intended to do model-driven architecture. So you don't use any file to regenerate the application multiple times. It's more to kickstart the application, and then you are developing the application, and you never go back to your original.
And the benefits in the example was to say, I'm creating those, I'm adding those entities, changing something I forgot, and that also generates the CRUD that would otherwise start to have to synchronize, right, between the front and the back, right? So that's the benefit of having this central file to describe the data.
Yes.
Yeah, I switched to my application here because it has been started, and we can see that we have now the customer with the ID and the name. I can create a new one, and I can see that it's in French. This field is mandatory, so I need to fill it properly, and I can save it directly. And I can see that I have a few of existing customers, because we are using fake data to generate data in dev mode. So it helps you to directly play with your entities without having to generate a few of data.
Anthony,
and
can you create a product, please? Because if I'm right, it's not refreshed?
No, because this is not coming from the sample application, but we can run it directly, and then stop here and move directly to the other application that we created before. Just to finish with that, so we have a lot of, we have a CRUD, everything. So everything has been created in the front, but also in the back end. So the service, also according to what you choose, the service, the entity, the liquid base files.
There is one question actually from later.
Yes, a Clayton asked if you deploy in production and you now need to change a type from add a column or change the type, does JHipster somehow help there to kind of make the Delta update rather than
I have two answers. Is the first answer is
no and
yes. In French we'd say it's a Norman answer. We can say that before the V7, the only way to do it is to update your entity. So you can do it. You can update it. For example, if I run it again, customer here, it will directly say, okay, this entity is already exist, and maybe what do you want? You want to generate it to add more field, to remove things. So you can edit it. The only things you will struggle with is the liquid base file will be recreated from scratch, and probably that if you don't remove all the things from your database, you will not be able to run your application again on it, because Liquibase will not be happy because the change log have been modified. So this is a problem. So the solution will be, okay, I can't handle it with JHipster and then change the Liquibase file by myself. So just take it from JHipster, but write the update command by myself in another Liquibase file and include it directly into the master Liquibase changelog.
Okay.
From JHipster 7, and just like as I said before, you have now the possibility to use the incremental changelog. So you need, when you generate your application, to define, to enable it with by using a flag is incremental dash changelog, I think. And this means every time you create or do modification into your application, it instead of recreating your master changelog, it will recreating a new one. So if I'm adding a new column, so it will say a new field in my JHipster entity, this will create a new changelog entry, and so I can deploy it directly into my production, and my database schema will be updated. So this is the two things we can say about that.
Okay.
Good. So the last but not least, I want to just move into this point. So just to understand what we did here, we generate a project from scratch. We added a new entity, and we run it locally by using H2 database. But Quarkus also provide the native build with GraalVM, and to run your application in native mode. So it takes too many times to do it in live. So we prepare a native build just before, and now I will run it from my computer, and it's based on this Gdl. So this Gdl, it's grown as an application, is a kind of Amazon, so you can have a product and order and have customers in categories. So it's exactly, well, let's say exactly the same application, but with more entity and more things, and also you have it in native. So it's already started, so it's good. Just I have my Docker, my MySQL Docker Compose is running here. This Docker Compose file is provided by JHipster. So it means when you generate an application that's using MySQL, or let's say Postgres, or another, it's the same, for example, for Mongo, we provide all the Docker Compose file you need to run all these things locally. The same, for example, for Redis too. And if I go directly into here, so I can see that, okay, this is the quite same application, but this is the native one. So I can log in. Oh, I'm already logged. Or probably that I have some trouble. To avoid to have some trouble, I will use the incognito mode, I guess. So I can sign in. You can see that I have more entities, excuse me. So I have category, product, customer, and order. So the same that we saw here, okay. And so what do you want it to do exactly, Daniel, for the demo?
Product, I'm not sure. Go to product.
Yeah.
Because
we can create.
Yeah, so because we have a many-to-one relationship with categories, I don't know in which side, which direction it would go, but since we have the relationship, we see that we have the categories in the UI, and if we create an order, also we see that we've got a drop-down list generated on the front end to represent the relation actually. So this is basically where we are. So after Anthony maybe will show the code, but we generate Quarkus code, so with all the Panache entities, the relationships, and so on, and we are taking power of the front end coming from JHipster. So basically, we didn't touch any line of code on the front end part, and we are just relying on it, and we are able to have this beautiful UI and full of options.
Nice.
Good.
Maybe you can show the code, the generated code with videos.
From
with
this application. Yeah, okay. I need to open it here.
Oh, and maybe show also the memory consumed by a JHipster Quarkus application.
Oh, okay, so I need to.
Did you make it smaller or bigger?
Actually, I have a guess.
Oh, I should take it. Oh. You're using space for your features. Damn it.
So we are able to run a full JHipster application, so a classic JHipster application with 50 megs of RAM.
Very nice.
So this is the power of native. It takes up to 8 minutes to generate, but when it's generated, it's very efficient.
Yeah.
Does it include all of the web content inside the binary? I suppose,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
By default.
Okay.
And all the front-end assets are also compiled, and I mean, there is also all the AOT stuff on the front-end part, so they get minified and compiled and so on. So we try
There
to...
you go. JavaScript is taking most of the time.
Yeah.
It's true.
This is definitely true.
Okay.
We're a bit out of time, so
Yeah.
we look at wrapping up.
Something we didn't say, but so you understood that we generate a lot of code to do that. We try to go further than just generating code, so all the application is tested. So we provide a full coverage of all the feature generated. So basically, when we said we generate an entity, all the crude endpoints are tested. If you've got some integrity constraints, all the integrity constraints are validated also. So we covered all the scope with Java tests. We try, but we're struggling right now to provide also native testing for all these features. It's more about trying to understand where native has an interest and what makes sense in the context of JHipster. But yes, we try to provide the same standard as developers are used to with JHipster Spring with the Quarkus part.
Okay. So we got three questions. One from Antonio here. He says there's a V2 and a V2 API docs. The version of Open API?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think. I think yes. The V2 is related to the version of OpenAPI.
Okay.
But this is a good question. I don't know if we can check that.
Because I think Quarkus has. Well, I don't even know the details, but we use the latest version. This is V3, I think. But
we'll do the open source answer. Antonio, free to open an issue or.
Please send a PR if you can't open an issue at least.
And then the other one, I noticed that you reordered the URLs. Like we have in Quarkus we have default /q OpenAPI /q. I was thinking you move stuff under management.
Yeah.
Where do you put the dev console? Is that still there?
No, it's not there yet. This is one thing we want to integrate. Basically, as we said before, it's hard to understand. So JHipster proposed, so by default, JHipster proposed the H2 console, some administration pages, and so on and so on. So we have to understand where the dev console comes in, where it does make sense, and try to integrate everything smoothly. So, but yes, it's definitely a feature we want to integrate. Talking about future also, something we would like to integrate is all the test container stuff about regarding testing. So there is a feature that has been merged, I think, or will be merged about providing test containers for testing purpose. So as for now, we rely on Celiac to have some database cleaned for after each test. Sorry. We want to integrate that also. And another stuff we didn't cover, we start, but it's in a very early stage to propose we would like to propose the reactive version of the Quarkus backend. So we start the implementation, but it's still at a very early stage. And this is something, I guess, for the 2.0, we'll try to release that also.
On mute. And the last one was, if anyone wants to get started with this, where is the best place to go? Is that the GitHub JHipster generator, JHipster Quarkus place, or is
Yes.
there?
It's
Yeah.
on GitHub. The best way. So either on the JHipster Tech sites, we added an entry for Quarkus now with the official documentation. Otherwise, go to the GitHub project. I think we also recap all the steps to get started on the project. And yes, GitHub project. I would go with the GitHub project.
Yeah, there's the GitHub, but also we have a specific documentation for Quarkus, for the Quarkus blueprint on the official website. And so you can learn what we speak, what we did before creating an application entity. So, for example, it's quite simple, but we hope to have enough time to improve it in the future.
Cool. Okay, so we do have to drop now, otherwise you're running over time. So yeah, well, thank you, Anthony and
Thank you.
Daniel. This was great to see you in an update. And yeah, if anyone want to try it out, go to that place. And yeah.
Yeah, if I can just finish by one word, will be if
Sure.
you want to. We are always looking for new contributors. So if you want to contribute to JHipster because you are well Quarkus, or even if you don't know what Quarkus is and you want to learn it by just providing new feature or fix existing one, feel free to contact us to go into the GitHub website repository, or even to reach us into in Twitter, because we are always looking for new contributors and we can easily help you to do it.
Cool. Thank you. And
Thank you.
For all the questions. And we'll go off live now. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for sticking, everybody, having us going a bit overboard. Sorry.